Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Arul Ghosh and I'm from NCIS. And here is my brilliant student Mausam. And today Mausam is going to present Z3 constraint solver and how to solve systems of equations and puzzles using it, okay? So now let's hear from Mausam.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mausam Parajuli. I'm a senior from Nepal, majoring in computer science with a minor in mathematics. And today I'm going to show how we can use Z3 constraint solver to solve systems of equations and puzzles. Okay, so the first question is, what is Z3? It might be new to a lot of people. But Z3 is an SMT theorem prover developed by Microsoft. So what is SMT? SMT stands for satisfiability modular theories. It's a way of defining whether a formula or equation is satisfiable or not. And a formula is satisfiable when it satisfies the given equation. For example, if we have an equation x equals y plus 2, we know it satisfies when x equals 5 and y equals 3. And it runs perfectly on Windows, Linux, and Mac operating system. And it supports different theories like Boolean, arithmetic, and then vectors, arrays, functions, and even quantifiers. And we can use it with different programming languages like Python, C++, and Java. And we're going to use Python in this presentation. So why do we use Z3 solver? There are a lot of reasons, but if I had to narrow it down, I would say because first off, it is a solver. It helps us to find inputs and outputs with various constraints. And it has wide range of applications. For example, it can be used for software verification. It can be used for biology stuff. It can be used for different analysis and stuff. And it is very efficient. It is a high performance theorem prover. And it is also fast. And Microsoft claims it's the fastest theorem prover. And it is very powerful because it helps us find vulnerabilities automatically. Now, the question is, how do we use Z3 with Python? So if you want to use Z3 with Python, first thing you want to make sure is you have Python installed on your device. If you're new to computer, you might think, what is Python? Python is a high-level programming language where you basically write a program. So you can go to their official website, and then you can find different tutorials, documentations, and examples depending on your system. Next thing, you can verify by going to command line and by typing a command python -- version if the Python has been installed on a device. Now, the next crucial point here is to make sure you install the wrapper for Z3 solver so that you can use it. And it's a very easy process. It just takes one single command, that's pip install Z3 solver, and it will install all the different dependencies, all the wrappers, all the files and resources that is needed for us. And after that, it's the fun part, which is you open the Python IDE, that's where you code your program, and you start solving a problem, right? All right. Now, since this might be a new topic to a lot of you, you might think, can I go home and try this? And the quick answer is, yes, absolutely. And this is a typical workflow that you can follow. First, you need to make sure you include the Z3 library. If you import everything from Z3 library, you can. There are built-in functions. Our good programmers they have built for us. We can directly use them. And then after that, you declare variables. Depending on programs, you'll have different kind of variables. What is a variable? A variable is kind of like a container that holds information, and we're going to see example in a few. And then after that, we create a Z3 solver that helps us to solve our problem. And then we add constraints or equations depending on our problem. This is where things get different. And after that, we ask our beautiful Z3 to solve for us. And if there are any solution, we'll see on our output screen. Now let's do some demonstration. So here is a system of equation that we all have seen. And our goal is to use Z3 solver to check first whether this problem can be solved. And if yes, let's try to find out the solution. And I have already done the coding because we have very limited time here, but we'll go line by line so that I want to make sure everyone is on the same page. And I also want to make sure you all can go home and code if you want to. All right. So here we go. Beautiful program. Like I said, if we follow the workflow, we can do this. And if you notice here, our very first line of code, it starts with the hash or pound symbol, which means comment in Python programming language. Basically, it's for programmer. We are trying to document our code so that readers can understand what's happening, right? So I'm basically saying on the second line, I'm trying to import everything from Z3 library. That asterisk symbol right there means everything in programming. And after that, we are declaring variables. If you look back to the problem, we have 3 different variables, x, y, and z, and I'm assuming they all are real numbers. So I'm creating 3 different real variables. And then I'm creating a solver using the built-in function from library, and which is going to help me solve my problem. Now, like I said, this is where things get different. I'm using a function add, where I'm adding these constraints, or the equations. That's my question, right? So in computer, you write it slightly differently. You will have to make sure you type in 2 times x plus 5 times y, and likewise. And if you notice, there's another slight difference between one single equal sign, and I'm using 2 equal sign here. So that one single equal sign over here means it's an assignment. I'm saying I'm basically assigning x as a real variable there. And here, I'm using 2 equal sign to compare values. I'm trying to make sure my left-hand side and right-hand side matches or not. And after that, we use this check function to see if any solution exists. And if yes, then I want to obtain the model by using this function. Now let's run it in Python. So I'll just run it. And within, it took like what? Not even a second, right? Within a very few seconds, we have the answer. Does someone want to guess what does this SAT means? Anyone want to guess?
Satisfied?
Perfect, yeah. SAT, it means satisfiable. That means our equation is satisfiable. And on the second line, it gives us the value. For example, we have x equal 3, z equal -2, and y equal -8. If you were to go back and plug in those values in the equation, you will see it satisfies. All right, let's move on. And I have another example here. We all have seen this puzzle, right? Especially on Facebook. And the funny thing is, my father, he sometimes send me this kind of question, and I use Z3 to solve this, and I send the answer to him, and he thinks I'm smart. But it's actually Z3 that's working for me. So let's go ahead and quickly, run this program, and let's see if we can do this. Again, it's the same workflow. Again, same thing we are doing here. We're importing everything from library, and now in our question, we have different variables at this time. We have circle, we have squares, and we have triangles, right? Instead of x, y, z, we have circle, square, and triangle. And again, I'm creating the solver object, and then we are adding different constraints. Because if you look to the problem, now the conditions are different. Now we have circle plus circle equals 10, circles times square plus square equals 12, and likewise. So let's go back to the program. So we have those conditions. And again, I'm checking if there are any solution or not. And finally, if there is a solution, I want to obtain the model. Let's go ahead and quickly run this. And if I run this model, there we go. We have value for triangle, we have value for square, and we have value for circle. Does anyone else want to guess what does the SAT means except for Dr. Thornton? All right, I was just joking. It's okay. All right, awesome. So yeah, that's basically pretty much everything I wanted to introduce today. I hope y'all got to learn something about Z3. We talked about what it is, we talked about its application, and we also showed how we can solve equations and puzzles. So in the end, I would like to thank my mentor, my faculty sponsor, Dr. Arup Ghosh. He has been there since day 1. So thank you so much, Dr. Ghosh. And I would also like to thank MCIS department, College of Science and Mathematics, and the entire JSU family, for providing us with this beautiful platform to showcase our talent and work. And at the end, thank you all so much. I can see my friends over there. Hello. Thank you all for coming and supporting me. And these are the references that I used to create this PowerPoint. And now the floor is open for any questions.
You said you could enable it in Excel or Microsoft?
Oh yeah, so this, could you repeat that question? I want to make sure I understand the question.
Can you enable the solver in like Excel?
Oh, if it has constraints, yes. It depends on what problem you're looking for. This is basically a theorem prover, especially it is used for like research purpose. if you have like constraints and stuff, and you want to find, or if you're testing for, let's say you have a problem in Microsoft, right, or Excel, and you have a problem, and you want to verify whether it works or not, then you can use this technology. Of course, it's going to be a lot difficult than what we just saw here. I wanted to show a simple, easy one so that everyone understands what's happening here.
I just want to add one comment here. So yes, you can use Python language, like to, for example, read Excel file, and then you can use this program to whatever problem you have, like you can solve that problem.
Do we have access to Python?
Oh yeah,
It's open source.
it's open source
Yeah.
free.
Yep.
Yeah. And you can solve I would say
I'm gonna go home and do that.
For sure, for sure.
They burned it.
It's running online. It's Jupyter. It's the project. It
Yeah.
can be actually, and the only thing is I try to work on with different libraries. Some libraries may not be accessible in Jupyter.
Right.
I found some which were not,
Mhm.
but and the Anaconda project,
Right.
Right.
so.
You can either use Python ideally, or PyCharm is really famous, or you don't even have to install. You can go online and then do like free stuff online. All right.
I appreciate that you picked easy examples to follow, but like if there's not a solution, I guess you just don't get the SAT, you get something else.
So that's a very good question. I was about to put that here, but due to time limit, I couldn't do it. But it will show onset, which means unsatisfiable.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about multiple solutions?
Yes, it will show all the
Okay,
solutions.
so when it shows up one solution, that's all there is?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So basically, it will show one solution, and then you can put that solution as a constraint, and then that way you can get multiple solutions.
Right.
Are there some categories of equations which are solvable, or pretty much you
I
can
mean,
use that you
I think
describe the
it-
problem correctly, you
Yes.
should be able to solve different, even more complex?
Yes, yes.
Like I say, it supports
higher level?
Mm-hmm.
It supports Boolean, arithmetic, vectors, arrays, quantifiers, and even functions. Yes, ma'am.
So equipped with this program, so what is your next goal in terms of your research? Do you have an idea in terms of where you want to aim this, this
Right.
program and this solver?
Right, so I was actually working with Dr. Ghosh. He has asked me to create a program using Z3 so that I can solve even complex problems like Sudoku and chess and stuff. First off, I'm trying to get familiar with this project, how it works and stuff, and ultimately I'm going to use this knowledge in my research where I will be verifying or testing different stuff that, let's say for performance evaluation and stuff like that.
With
Yes.
that, following up on that, do you think you could use it to unsolve riddles for letters and stuff too? Does it have capacity to do that?
Could you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
That's okay. So what you were just saying, like the Sudoku idea, do you think that it would have the capacity to do that with letters? Like solving hidden mysteries, for example?
Right, yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's a good question. And I'll give you a quick example. Let's say you have $1,000 budget, and then you want to buy some amount of dogs, or some amount of cats, and some amount of mouse. Then you can make those constraints. For example, let's say you want at least one of them, but you want twice many dogs than cats. Then you can make all those equations and then create your variables and ask Z3 to solve, and it will tell you how much you should spend for dog, how much you should spend for cats, and stuff like that. And you can do the same for missing letters and stuff as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a good question.
Got time for maybe one more.
Yes.
You said that you can use Z3 to solve vulnerabilities and security and stuff. How?
Right.
Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So that's a complex one. That's not something that you will learn right away. But Z3 is mainly used for software testing and analysis. And so basically, when you use Z3, it can find problems for you. It is not only for solutions. Sometimes you can have the solution and try to find problems within it. You know what I'm saying? So you can use those to find those vulnerabilities or the problems, and you can tackle those problems accordingly.
I hate to cut you short, but
No, it's okay.
let's take our speaker.